What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today I thought we'd take a look at some of the games announced and revealed at E3. There's a lot of great stuff coming out, and I am hyped as can be. This was one of the best years for E3 and gamers alike that I can remember in a long time. So with that being said, let's make a little game out of this, why don't we? I'm going to run through and talk about the games that I think are most important that were shown at E3, but I won't be able to cover everything as this video doesn't need to be an hour long. In addition, I'll assign my own hype rating from 0 to 10. This will indicate, well, how hyped I am, if I plan on buying it, how high my expectations are, and all that jazz. So at the end of the video, you too should post your hype ratings for some of the games I talked about in the comments below. But if you're more curious on specific games, I'll have timestamps to everything in the description and pinned comment below. These games are going to be in no particular order, so let's jump straight into this. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. When Shadows Die Twice was teased to us 6 months ago, there wasn't shit to go on. We saw a tourniquet and heard some weird noises, then blam, that's it. That's all you get. But with this full-fledged trailer from Software, I was pleasantly surprised with the direction they took. From Software is obviously the developers behind the Dark Souls series, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne, all of which create a track record of fantastic games. Although Dark Souls 2 I'd say is decent at best. But ever since I played the original Dark Souls and the Artorias of the Abyss DLC, I've looked at From Software as a company that, no matter what they make, I'm going to buy it because their standard of quality is that high. So they've done the medieval theme with 4 games and a dark gothic theme with Bloodborne, which makes it that much more interesting to see them going for a Japanese samurai style of game. Maybe Yasuo will make an appearance. It looks like it's going to be in the same vein as the Souls games, similar structure, so it'll be familiar to those that have played them. Looks like there's going to be giant monsters, death, and by the looks of it, a more personalized story this time around. So while I'm a much bigger fan of the medieval settings that From Software creates, my hype levels for this game are at a 9 out of 10. I'm definitely going to pick it up. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Waluigi Christ. I am unbelievably excited for this game. Like, I don't even know where to begin with this. I've heard people calling it a port or some shit, like really? They're trying to downplay the awesomeness of what this game is supposed to offer and what it's going to be. Let me tell you folks, it does not look like a goddamn port of Super Smash Bros. Wii U. This is, as the name suggests, the ultimate version of Smash Bros., with every character from previous games being playable and refining the mechanics, updating them. The tagline, everyone is here, is fucking perfect for marketing and just to get the message across that, hey, if you've played a Smash Bros. Game before, any of those characters are going to be in this one. The balls, the sheer smash balls of Nintendo and this idea, it's ambitious as hell. I think at this point, Nintendo has been clued in on the competitive success of Smash Bros. Melee and the pure fun factor of the other games, and it looks like they're trying to find the perfect balance. Like they want this ultimate Smash Bros. Game to be competitive without some of the bullshit of the newer games. This is one of those ideas that, in the eyes of the hardcore fans, it is just that, a dream. Something that nobody actually expects is gonna happen. If Smash Bros. Ultimate works, has online play, a high competitive ceiling with fun gameplay and new additions, it will literally be a dream come true. Every single Smash character with a couple new ones, presumably all the maps too? And the possibility for DLC characters? I mean, count me the fuck in. Smash Bros. Is Nintendo's greatest franchise. I've got a video in the works on that, just to tease you guys a bit. The addition of Daisy and the idea of Echo Fighters is really cool. I know there were lots of people asking for Daisy to be put in, and to see Nintendo not only add her into the game, but make a big deal about it, is something that just warms the heart, man. I mean, people were asking for Daisy for like 10 plus years. Ridley looks fucking badass, and I was shocked to see they added him. Metroid has never had another character in the roster besides Samus, so Nintendo is also sending some love that way. And although Waluigi didn't make the cut, you never know, people. We never thought Daisy would get into a Smash game, but here she is. Hype levels have reached beyond the maximum threshold. Warning, 11 out of 10. I've already fucking bought it. I was blown away by Halo Infinite and 343's decision to go for a more classic-themed trailer. There wasn't much action in it, which I thought was a neat choice, as it allowed for them to really build up the world, atmosphere, mystery, and intrigue of the next Halo game. I've already got a whole video dedicated to talking about this, so if you'd like a much more in-depth analysis of the trailer with my thoughts and opinions, check out the card in the top right or link in the description. But in a nutshell, while I saw everything I wanted to see in this trailer, I'm tempering my expectations and hype a bit because 343 doesn't have the best track record. I'm very much hopeful, but still a bit skeptical. Hype levels for Halo Infinite, 8 out of 10. Ori and the Blind Forest was a game that completely changed the way I thought about indie games. Back in 2015, I never thought such a high-quality experience would come from a small developer I'd never heard of. I was amazed by the graphics, sounds, intuitive gameplay, music, controls, and just how ambitious this project seemed for the price it was going for. And those same feelings are coming back when I look at Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I see the exact same visual style that captivated me back then, except it looks even better this time around. I see the same freedom and awesome movement. I see a worthy and grand sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, and I'm so freaking happy that the game did well enough to warrant a sequel. Hype levels for this are at a maximum 10 out of 10, and the Xbox One has been in dire need of some exclusive games. I hope Ori and the blank blank can be a new franchise juggernaut for Microsoft. Maybe not juggernaut, but something people can look at and be like, wow, I really want to play that. To add on to the topic of indie games I'm excited for, Cuphead is getting some DLC and holy shit, I'm loving it already. That old school retro 1920s animation style, charm, music, everything that made me fall in love with the original game, I see it here in the trailer. Cuphead is another one of those games that just broke ground, that really showed me the potential of the indie market, and this game blew up when it first came out. As an Xbox fanboy, I haven't had much at all to brag about as far as exclusives. I've been watery dry for years, and that could be another video in and of itself. But it makes me extremely happy to see Microsoft getting these exclusives and very good indie games licensed, and giving them the love they need to be console-selling franchises. I mean, you see gameplay at Cuphead, you know exactly what that is. Cuphead was a game that simply pushed the boundaries of visual aesthetic and style. It's unlike any other game you've ever played. So to have more of that, here's my money! Cuphead, like the Souls series, is a game and idea executed so well that I'm immediately on board to purchase anything related to it. We'll also get to play as Miss Chalice, ooh. So it'll be interesting to see if the different characters have different play styles, say like Mario Bros. 2 had. More Cuphead, hype levels at 9 out of 10. What I've been saying about From Software and Cuphead rings also true for CD Projekt Red. The Polish-based developers who created the awe-inspiring Witcher games are back at it again with the fresh fans. I mean, a project they've had in the works for a long time. Being announced 6 years ago? Goddamn. Well, they knocked it out of the park before, and I dare say they're bound to hit a home run with this one. Cyberpunk looks to be exactly that, a cyberpunk-themed game. I'm really digging the visual style, and you'll notice that's kind of a pattern with the rest of the games I've been talking about. It'll be an RPG with single player, probably very story-heavy, incredibly immersive with massive amounts of player choice and involvement, branching paths. You see the same formula for the Witcher games in this, but a different setting, different characters, different timeline, everything. The only downside is, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to play all these fantastic games. I wish there were more hours in the day. But since there aren't, hype levels are at 8 out of 10. Speaking of CD Projekt Red, holy fuck, there's a new Soulcalibur coming out, and holy fuckballs, Geralt of Rivia is gonna be in it. What?
Come on, let's do this.
See, Geralt actually makes sense in this crossover as opposed to Darth Vader and Yoda. Like, what the hell? That happened. Holy shit, that happened. That was so dumb. Soulcalibur, in my eyes, is a really great series of fighting games that are more accessible than some others. Its combat has always been pretty fluid, fun, with great weapons. The fucking Nightmare Ultra Greatsword Butcher's Cleaver with an eyeball, and just plenty of cool characters and playstyles to mess around with and have fun. It's always been a series known for its, it's been a series known for other things, and anyways, I'm what you'd call a more casual Soulcalibur player, and getting another game in the series is something I'm fairly excited for. Looking forward to see the new boob physics in action. Hype levels, 7 out of 10. It's been a long time since—
Stop right there, criminal scum!
we had any news on the next Elder Scrolls game. So slap my nuts and call me Dragonboard, I did not expect this. An actual new Elder Scrolls game? Not some MMORPG bullshit, not some super special awesome Skyrim edition anniversary released for the 3rd time, but an actual new game? Wow. The trailer doesn't give us much to go on other than the game exists and is being worked on, but hot damn, this brings me back to the insane hype levels of Skyrim. That was like the last game people really were lining up in front of stores to get their hands on, when midnight releases were a big deal, before digital downloads really took off. Elder Scrolls in my eyes is a series that is known for blowing you away every time a new one comes out. Every console generation, they come out with some shit that just boom! With Morrowind back in 2002, I couldn't believe there was a game with such a huge, expansive free world that I could just pick a direction and walk in for hours. Oblivion was the nicest looking game I'd ever seen at the time, and set the standards for graphics back in 2005. And Skyrim? Skyrim was the coolest thing ever in the history of forever. Kinda sorta. Because in a lot of ways, I just didn't believe improving upon Oblivion was even possible. In many ways they did and didn't, but that's not the point. My point is, whenever an Elder Scrolls game comes out, it raises the bar for everyone else. And I have no doubt that Bethesda and Elder Scrolls VI is going to do the same. There's nothing concrete about the setting of the game, that's always a big deal, but to me, whatever they choose is going to be fantastic either way. Maybe a return to Hammerfell? Or perhaps they're going to find a way to incorporate more than one country? Province? Whatever. Either way, hype levels, as with every mainline Elder Scrolls game, are at a maximum 10 out of 10. For about 18 years, I've played the Mario Party and Mario Tennis games with my buddies. Both of these sub-series of Mario games have been a huge part of my childhood, and they will always be something I'm interested to play, because they capture the pure fun of playing with your friends better than just about anything else. And I'm not about to sit down and let couch co-op and split screen die, okay? Yes, I'll be sitting down on the couch, but playing split screen and co-op. And Nintendo is just the best when it comes to fun party games with 4 or sometimes more people. And that is why Super Mario Party and Mario Tennis Aces are a couple of games that I'm extremely hyped to play. Mario Tennis is one of those games that is super simple on paper, but has so much complexity and competitiveness underneath. That's a game I'm going to love playing competitively with friends and online. Hopefully, Nintendo can figure out how to make online multiplayer work well with both of these games, so fingers crossed. That way, when your buddy steals your stars when there's one turn left, you don't feel tempted to stab him, because you can't, because he's at his house. Super Mario Party looks to be a return to the classic and actually good style of Mario Party games. For those that don't know, Mario Party 3 was basically perfect, and Nintendo could never quite get to that level of quality and fun, but they always got close, until Mario Party 9 and 10 happened, and they said, fuck it, everything's luck. You wanna win? Oh, you just got lucky. Who cares? And they turned these games into the most casual RNG-based experiences you've ever witnessed. But it looks like they're starting to understand what a great Mario Party game is supposed to have, and Nintendo will act accordingly. Hype levels for both these games, 8 out of 10. Chances are most people that are watching this video or are fans of my channel have never played a Tales of game. I don't know, I just get that impression. I'm guessing that's the case, but if you're a Tales fan, speak up baby in the comments, I want to see you. Now, for those of you that don't know much about this series, the Tales games are similar to the Final Fantasy games, in the sense of a grand, epic, long adventure with a JRPG format. But the Tales games are way more fun for me, because the combat isn't turn-based. Simply put, it's awesome. You have all this control for combos that you can chain together. I won't go over the reasons why I think they're so great, but I'm normally against lazy remasters or definitive editions that aren't really definitive of shit, because a lot of times they don't really add anything substantial. However, Tales of Vesperia is different because it was a great game released as an exclusive for the Xbox 360 back in 2008. It's also where I get some of my background music from. This is kind of an important game as Xbox traditionally doesn't have, the greatest selection of RPGs or JRPGs. And there was also a PS3 version that was only in Japanese. That version came with way more content, weapons, side quests, and a whole new character to your party. This is very significant, as people who don't fucking speak Japanese were left out of this extra content. Now, I wanted to highlight this game because it's just nice fan service, and it's something that I personally really enjoyed. If my hunch is right, it seems like they're going to get all the old voice actors together maybe to do the new lines in English, and they're basically going to give us a definitive edition of this solid as fuck JRPG. If you've never played a Tales game before, I'd highly recommend picking this up when it comes out, as it'll be available on all platforms. Hype levels for Tales of Vesperia, a definitive 7 out of 10. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, mostly because they're PlayStation exclusives and, that's gay, that's the gay station. No, I'm just more of an Xbox Nintendo guy. But it's a series of games I've heard nothing but good things about. The concept seems interesting too, almost like Destiny and PlayStation's version of Smash Bros., in the sense of bringing all these classic characters from different games and movies together in a grand big ol' epic adventure. So I've never played these games before, but you know what? I think I'm gonna change that when this one comes out. Hype levels, modest 6 out of 10. Well, when it comes to anything related or published by EA, you know what that means. And if it isn't named Titanfall, I usually approach it with a great deal of skepticism, and Anthem is no different. The trailers and gameplay look really cool, and the presentation of this huge world to explore with the freedom of choice that kind of changes is a very cool concept. My only issue is I don't know if BioWare working with EA can pull this off. I really don't know. Mass Effect Andromeda was a steaming pile of Krogan shit you could smell across the Milky Way galaxy. And that has me raising many questions about their talent level and how much EA plans to fuck with the project. Although, and I'll believe it when I see it, it's great to hear EA backpedaling on their loot box philosophy. It's great that they can no longer get away with the greedy corporate predatory shit they were doing for so long. You hear that, Andrew Wilson?
Is this good for the player?
It's probably still going to be in their sports games because I don't think Madden fans really give a shit, but it's a good sign nonetheless. Anthem does look a bit generic in my eyes. I can't exactly tell what's supposed to be super special or unique about it. I don't care much about Anthem at the moment, but I'll stay tuned with new developments. Hype levels ain't so high, 3 out of 10. While I already covered the gameplay and a controversial trailer for Battlefield V in another video, I will say I'm still excited to play this new game. The series hasn't gone back to World War II in some time, and it'll be interesting to see if they can recapture the magic of their roots better than Call of Duty's latest attempt. Battlefield 1 has been one of my favorite FPS games of the last 2 years, and I'm finally starting to really dig the Battlefield series overall. That being said, I hope the forced agenda and self-righteousness, the virtue signaling, all that shit of some of the developers doesn't interfere too much or hamper the work of the overall team. I'm ready to see what you got this time, DICE, but don't fucking smash it in my face, make it subtle. Hype levels, 7 out of 10. Battlefront 2 EA Standard Deluxe Ultimate Digital Special Edition was a game that really was the catalyst for the conversation about loot boxes. Even without that massive controversy, the game itself had several big flaws. Now, I'm about to give EA and DICE a compliment for those that might be shocked to hear that, but well done. Well done on not abandoning the game. Well done on the hunt mode. You're building up that reputation with these updates and bringing back the Clone Wars, Grievous, Dooku, Obi-Wan, Anakin Skywalker. These are all good moves. These are the things people want and have been asking for a long time. This shows you are listening to the community. And I take this as a sign of change in philosophy, to actually become a player-first company, hopefully. While I'm still not super fond of the new Battlefront 2, I think I'm gonna go back and play a bit when that update drops. Hype levels for Star Wars Battlefront 2 Clone Wars DLC at a moderate 6 out of 10. Doom 2016 was a game that kinda came out of nowhere. The Doom series before that was mostly known as one of the main pioneers of FPS games, and aside from a few pretty good sequels, the series hadn't done much in like a decade. But that game proved you could take what many people thought was an old, outdated, irrelevant style of game and bring it into the modern day successfully. They didn't need no advanced movement and shit, they just stuck to their roots, and did what the Doom games were known for. As a series, it most definitely deserves a place in the FPS market amongst the other giants. It's far too badass to be thrown to the wayside, and Doom Eternal has got me super excited to kick some fucking ass and listen to goddamn metal. Hype levels at 8 out of 10. So when it comes to games I'm not very interested in, I haven't mentioned Fallout 76, Gears of War 5, or Crackdown 3, Last of Us Part 2. I know that might sound like heresy to a lot of you, and it probably is, but I'm just not so much interested in those games. But I'll give a quick blurb about them before we finish things off. Despite not personally being a huge fan of the Fallout games, I've always wanted to get into them, but Fallout 4 looked like everything wrong with modern single-player games. So, I don't know, maybe Fallout 76 will be good, maybe it won't. But I might just go and play New Vegas and beat that. Last of Us Part 2, all I'm gonna say is, I'm extremely happy that these high-quality games get sequels, because that's the way it should be. That's deserved. You earned that sequel, and I hope you do well. Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog. Crackdown and Gears of War are, also two series I've never really gotten into, so can't say I'm hyped for them personally. However, I know that both of these are big names when it comes to the Xbox. Crackdown a bit less. In any case, I'm always happy when Microsoft and the Xbox can pull out some dope exclusives for the people that do love those games. So we'll just call things there. Those are my thoughts on some of the most noteworthy games shown off at E3. Did you agree with my thoughts? Are you equally hyped? What did you think about E3 this year? Am I asking too many questions? What are you most excited for? What are you not excited for? What are your hype levels for some of these games? Let me know. Whatever you think in the comments below. Looking back at it, this was the best E3 I've ever witnessed. So thanks for watching, that's all I've got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!